I just got rich. Well, this MetaDoge fire. Yeah. If you don't got a coin in your wallet, you broke. I said what I said. Hey, my doge not like yours. My doge is the first. You are just a meme. My doge got a metaverse. My doge not like yours. Tell him I said it.
Facts. My doge not like yours. My doge is the first. You are just a meme. My doge got a metaverse. My doge not like yours. My doge is the first. You are just a meme. My doge got a metaverse. MetaDoge, 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 MetaDoge. I just struck it rich. Too much money, it can't fit in my pocket. MetaDoge, flip it, watch me hold. NFT, I got one gold. We be lit like the stove. All these paper hands exposed. That's my doge, I cannot fold. Hey, I've been trapping doge off in the metaverse. MetaDoge, history made, we did it first. I can't make this up, ain't no right rehearse. We got all the drip, we gon' quench they thirst. My doge not like yours, my doge is the first. You are just a meme, my doge got a metaverse. My doge not like yours, my doge is the first. You are just a meme, my doge got a metaverse. MetaDoge, 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 big dog, boss doge and metaverse. I bought friends, NFTs, stake them, gotta get them first. When she dip, I buy the dip, it come up, she can get her purse. Don't you wait until it's listed, you should go and get it first. Dog, I'm certified, check my status, ask about me. We been shaking up the market, that's no lie. Ricky Bobby, they gon' duplicate and try. Roger that, copy. I'm a big dog, off the leash, chest out, cocky. My doge not like yours, my doge is the first. You are just a meme, my doge got a metaverse. My doge not like yours, my doge is the first. You are just a meme, my doge got a metaverse. MetaDoge, 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 MetaDoge. Slime to slime, I'ma put y'all on to something real quick. Know what I'm saying? You gotta put this coin in your pocket. That's not you broke. Go to MetaDoge.live. That's MetaDoge.live. For bruh. Get you some money. LNJ. You can find me in the
What's going on, everybody? As always, I am Owen. This is Tyler. We are joining you on a very exciting day for MetaDoge, where we just released the game trailer that really gives a deep dive, and we're going to release it again here in a minute, if there's ever any such thing as, I guess, re-releasing something. But we're going to show it again here in just a minute and make sure that you guys get a look at it as well. So, Tyler, you weren't able to make it earlier today. Now that you're here now, what are your thoughts before we show this?
Well, I did get to see the stream earlier, not live, but I did watch the recording on YouTube. So if you didn't watch that earlier, I suggest you go back to YouTube and watch that. Definitely subscribe, like the video, like this one when we're done, or now, whenever, and then push this out to as many people as possible. Because honestly, this is one of the best forms of communication we have to all of the people who are maybe not listening currently, that want to hear what is going on versus reading it about it in the chat, looking back at all the pinned stuff. We try to do a good job of explaining all of the developments here. So yeah, I'm excited to see them. I'm excited to show everybody again and be present this time. Sorry I had my in real life job that I was at earlier, but we wanted to get it out to as much of the community as possible. So that's why we're doing 2 today.
Exactly. And we wanted to make sure that we covered all the time zones, because we have a lot of investors that, you know, it was 11 o'clock my time in the morning whenever yours too, obviously, he's here. It was 11 o'clock our time whenever it was released this morning, which I'm glad I was able to to live stream it and everything, but we want to make sure that we're covering all the time zones for the people that may have questions that weren't able to attend the first one. So, that's one of the things that we always want to make sure. So, with that being said, we'll go ahead and show the trailer for MetaDoge Spirits of the Metaverse. Thank you. Holy shit! Woo! Man, that gets me excited. You know what also gets me excited? You know what just happened over here? A 1.8 BNB buy.
That's what we like to see. Loved it.
The new precious owner of 66.5 million MetaDoge just came in through the Telegram chat, and that's some of the stuff that we love to see. The people that are buying into all the hard work we've been putting in over these past months, because that's one of the things that sucks, is because obviously as we're patenting and copywriting a lot of stuff, we can't just throw out every single detail of what we're doing with game development over the past, which normally for game development takes years. Yeah. We're obviously able to cram it down because we're a dedicated team. But that's one of the things that's just incredible to me, is that we still have these people here, these holders, you guys, the community, being able to come out, and we have people coming in right now and making big buys on it and believing in what we have been working on. And boy, it feels good. Feels good. It
feels really good. It feels good to see that not only does the work pay off and your commitment as a community pay off, but I mean, it's being noticed, whether that buy is internal or external. I can't really tell from here, but It doesn't matter. It means that buy means that somebody's buying in. And honestly, that's our whole goal here, is to create buy-in for something that we truly believe in. So glad if you're a new holder or if you're an old holder who's filling up their bag, it doesn't matter. Thank you for being here.
We appreciate it, but let's go ahead and get into some of the nitty-gritty details about the game. So, as you all probably already saw, the person who is shilling their prostitution service in the chat, we appreciate you driving up the algorithm, random bot person. Number 2, MetaDoge Spirits of the Metaverse. So one of the good things about having a game is you want to make sure that you have a catchy ass name with it. So what we kind of sat down and discussed is we wanted to hit on all those nostalgia points, all of that, the games you grew up playing, the Pokemon. We wanted to make it feel very comfortable, very familiar. But at the same time, we wanted to do our own thing and be unique, and kind of push that to where it's, it can be kind of picked up and played by anybody. But at the same time, it's not just a ripoff of any other game, because that's not doing good for anybody. So, do you want to talk to the people about it?
Yeah, I think just hitting on that a little bit. Like, we don't want to be the kind of organization, the kind of token, the kind of coin, whatever project that just completely takes somebody else's original idea and puts our name on it. We are taking what works and what everybody wants right now, and we're making it our own. So we may talk about how, this is like Pokemon, or this is like this is like that. Like, yeah, because those things work. Those things are what people want to play. Like, I like playing it. He likes playing it. We've always played it. So why not make something that MetaDoge can tap into that too? And that's really the entire essence of spirits of the metaverse here is that we're taking all of the good stuff that we know and we love to play, and we're making it our own, and we're making it something that you can play and you can enjoy and you can make a little bit of money off of too.
Exactly. So as you know, the staking NFTs are going away. All that's left is some season 2s. So once those are gone, there will be no more staking NFTs. But the bright side is that we have made a lot of ways where you can make some passive income inside MetaDoge Spirits of the Metaverse. So that's one of the cool things that I'm happy about, is that you can still continue that ability to earn passive income. Well, I say passive, you're going to have to get in the game and you're going to have to play. But at the same time, you can absolutely make some MetaDoge while you do it.
Yeah, and touching on that too, like just because we're not minting any new staking NFTs doesn't mean that you don't have the opportunity to buy them through the marketplace. So you make a deal with somebody else in the chat, or they throw them on the marketplace, and you have the MetaDoge and you want to buy some staking ones while you're playing, perfectly fine to do so. Like we've talked about this in the past too. Some of the season 2 ones that we currently have will have the option to convert those into in-game NFTs, which ultimately makes season 2 staking ones even more rare and valuable if you're trying to sell it on the marketplace. But also, I think it gives our staking community a little bit more to work for in the MetaDoge game if they don't necessarily have the ability to just buy a bunch of MetaDoge and buy things off the marketplace either. You can work for those and then purchase them that way as well.
Exactly. And one of the things to also be looking for that we have done is 1% buy tax right now, which is probably why one of the big son of a bitch buys came in, is because we do have a 1% buy tax going on, as well as a competition for biggest buy, which I'll go ahead and tell you who's leading the pack right now. Mr. $800 dropper over there.
Yeah.
So, and one of the winners of that first of all the top 5 is going to receive a season 1 NFT, completely sold out. That's donated by the dev team, because we love you. And that is one of the things that you're going to be able to get is a season 1 NFT, which is incredibly sought after and rare. So the winner is going to get a legendary. Top 5 again. So 5th place will get a common, 4th place an uncommon, which both are still incredibly rare. I think they're going on the marketplace for 8.5 million at least. And then obviously 3rd place rare, 2nd place epic, and 1st place that highly sought after. I own one and I'll die with it. Legendary
Lucky man. I
season
don't have
1 NFT. But that's enough of the past. Yeah. Let's talk about the future for a minute. So MetaDoge Spirits of the Metaverse, there are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 meta zones across Meta Earth in the Metaverse. That's a lot of metas. I guess I could have just hit next and it would have said that exact thing without me having to do math on it, but that's okay. So you'll see 5 of them right here. Obviously, we'll get to the 6th one. This is just from the trailer itself, from a screenshot. But we have Dogeland, Floki Forest, the Atlantis-like city under Shui Sea. We have Inu Island, and then, of course, Kishu City, one of my favorite ones, the flying one. I don't know why, I just love it so much. I just love soaring above the clouds and everything. It's just really, really cool. So first, let's go ahead and talk about Dogeland, your starting area, the place where you're going to have your farm, to where you're able to kind of craft items, breed NFTs, just your first starting little area. So I'm actually kind of really excited to see this just because it feels so... You ever play Animal Crossing? Kind of like that feeling of just kind of like home and just kind of being there, being able to kind of build on that. What are some of the things that we can do in our starting home, Tyler?
Yeah, so in the starting home, honestly,
Farm,
I love all of the other lands, but Dogeland is probably my favorite. And to be honest with you, it's because it is home. It's where you start. This is where you learn about how the entire game works. And so for me, one of my favorite things in games is the very beginning, especially in this style of game, because I learn how I'm going to be successful. And what we're trying to do here is give you the opportunity to learn those things very early on in a home environment that you can come back to. And boy, one of the things that we're going to throw in there is the breeding. You know, I know Dom said earlier today, because I got to watch the recording of this, Dom said he was really excited about breeding, and I am too. I will say I'm a little bit more excited about the crafting.
Oh,
yeah. I know you're big on the battling, right? Yeah. And battling is cool and all too. I'm looking forward to that, but the crafting sense I think is really neat because we're giving the player ourselves included, the opportunity to go out, explore the world, harness some of that world, whether it be ingredients or whatever it is that you're wanting that is needed to make what you're trying to make. But overall, you get to sell that back to other players for MetaDoge money, right? So now that's the play to earn kind of aspect that I'm looking forward to, because if I craft more potions than I need, or some, whatever it is that I'm looking for, then I can go back and I can sell that and make more money while I'm making money in the game. And you can even manipulate the prices depending on where the market's at. So it is truly a purely economic system that we're creating inside your game. And to me, that gets my juices flowing, because you know how I like marketplaces.
I know how you like economics too. So
Yes.
that kind of plays
Yes.
into the aspect of it. It's all self-sustaining. It's really cool how we've been able to design it and build it. I'm really excited for that part. But Dogeland itself, like you said, it feels like home, right? It just, that is your starting area, and it's like my mother always said, home is where the Doge is.
Well,
So-
and not to mention that,
My
maybe
mom never said.
not to mention that we're looking at the aspect of customization. So when you're talking about your starting home, it's one of those places that you want to put mantles on the like pictures on the wall or things on the mantle, so that you can be proud of your accomplishments, whether they be trophies or pictures of NFTs.
Your favorite NFTs, I was going
Right,
to say.
yeah.
We've got some stuff cooking for that. We're going to show you a little bit more later on here in a few weeks. We're going to show you a little bit more on the customization of the houses, what you can do as far as your farm and the real estate you have, as well as the other what the other real estate looks like on different meta zones, because you are able to buy real estate in different meta zones, and they give you amazing perks towards breeding and crafting and whatnot to make sure that you're getting those extra rare NFTs, maybe even some epics and legendaries. But you're gonna have to expand your plant your little flag and all the other ones, which leads us to Floki Forest, the dense jungles
Oh yeah.
of Floki Forest. Now this one I'm kind of excited for, just because it has a really cool. We've been working a lot with as far as getting the ambiance for Floki Forest down to where when you walk through it, even though it's kind of cell shaded graphics and whatnot, just the sounds of just like the birds chirping and the nature and everything, just kind of walking through it. It's actually a really calming place to be. Until an enemy obviously jumps out like a goddamn magic show and tries to fight you. But generally speaking, it's very calm and cool, kind of walking through Floki Forest. So I'm pretty excited to be able to just kind of that might be. No, I've got 2 above it, but man, that's really high up there for me. I just like the nature aspect.
So too. I think the whole ambiance, like you said, the environment that you're in, where even though you're in a battle, an intense battle with an enemy that pops up, as soon as you're done, you go back to that calming sense too, where it becomes less about battle and more about enjoying nature, enjoying the environment that you're in, and going back to my marketplace thing in the crafting, looking for those special items that you would need to craft that stuff. So I think that's one of the cool things about it.
I completely agree with you there. And so next place that you go, which this actually has a very important NFT that we'll talk about, but Kishu City, very iconic from the short time that people have watched the teaser to the trailer and the trailer itself. Flying into, it's high above, it's a cloud city, high above the mountains. It's really, really cool. A lot of people love Kishu. Incredibly adorable. I mean, look at that little son of a bitch right there. Do you not just want to hug it? I do. So I'm kind of excited just to be here, because it's a very major, important part of the story, kind of a little bit high above the clouds, untouched by the dark kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Dark corruption.
Yeah.
That's kind of taken over the meta zones and meta Earth. Lots of metas. So that's one place that I'm really, really excited for. What about you?
Yeah, I am too. I mean, I think that we have a lot of really, really cool features, in the works for Kishu City to make it feel even more like just a city in the clouds.
Mm-hmm.
Something to where once you get here, you don't forget that you're in Kishu City. That there are constant reminders that you are floating well above everything else right now. And I think I'm looking forward to that. Like, I love the aspect of the MetaDoge flying in like that, and that's a really, really cool scene. But I'm looking forward to all of the other things that keep me there once.
It does bring me to a good point. We'll get to the NFTs here in a little bit, but One of the things that we have are obviously the attacking NFTs. The majority of what they are, the attacking NFTs, the ones that give you your move set to be able to do some moves and whatnot, some attacking moves. There's also passive NFTs, whether it be a shield, a revive, a heal, and there's passive NFTs in the sense of specific. It's also moves, but things that you do to manipulate the environment around you. One of which you can get from defeating the main bad guy, we'll just say, in Kishu City to kind of like rid it of the negativity. Um, One of the NFTs that you can get is flying, because while it's amazing to be able to walk all the way through the forest, up the mountains, and into the Cloud City and get there and stuff, eventually when you progress further enough into the game, you don't want to just be hiking your ass, all the way back if you got to go back to your main area. You want to be able to fly. So those are some of the passive NFTs that we're working with Kishu City, kind of incorporating that first to give you an idea of that, almost like a little bit of a tutorial, giving you the ability to fly. And that's a really cool looking NFT that we will be releasing later to kind of show you guys. I'm excited to see that one just because it's just nice. It's really kind of peaceful.
Well, I think the other thing that that every zone's gonna have this is there's gonna be a kind of theme, an element to each zone, and so you got to think too, like, not only is Kishu City fantastic in itself, but everything that you can get from Kishu City, the types of characters that you're gonna want to use in Kishu City, just like in Floki, just like in the rest of them, they're all going to have pluses and minuses to them. Depending on what you're fighting, depending on who you're fighting against and how they're, and them fighting you, you're going to have to be strategic about what you're using, like the characters you're using. And that's going to come a little bit later. We'll put some more out about that stuff, but I think it's another aspect of this whole entire game that it's not just I'm fighting the same person over and over. Every person's a little bit different, or every MetaDoge character is a little bit different, and you have to plan for that.
Exactly, and you also have to understand that your moves also give you plus and minuses to your resistance, as well as, well, I guess just resistance level. Like, for example, water obviously does more damage to fire. So if you're equipped nothing but fire moves and you're going against, enemies that are wielding water moves, they're going to do more damage to you and you less damage to them. So you want to make sure you have a good balance to where you're not, negative 75% susceptible to electric moves. You want to make sure that you're actually, so it's a very calculated, strategic way that we have built into the game, and a really cool kind of fun play on it, which obviously harkens back to Pokemon and, what they're susceptible to and their resistances. But it also makes common sense if you're running around with nothing but all four your moves are fire moves and you run up on somebody with water, you're about to get fire hydrant. Yeah, I don't know what I was going to tell you.
Well, that and like, to add to the strategy sense, I think that's a fantastic way to do it, right? I mean, it's not an unusual thing when you're in a game style of Pokemon or whatever to have that, and I think that adds a whole different dimension, a dynamic to the game that makes it more difficult, makes it more enjoyable to play, maybe a little bit frustrating at times, but honestly, the little bit of frustration keeps me coming back because I'm like, I know I can do better at this. I keep getting my ass whooped. Let me figure out the right strategy for this.
Exactly. So, strategic, definitely look forward to that portion.
Well, and we're also, I'm sorry, we're also looking for some consequences, right? So you can't just like die or a MetaDoge die and not have a consequence to it, or else, what would be the point? You could just die and keep doing it, die and keep doing it, die and keep doing it. So we're looking at aspects of that too, as to what the consequence should be in those situations where you don't plan for any of this. You go into Kishu City with a whole bunch of people that fight on the ground and not in the air, or you go into Shui City or Shui Sea with a whole bunch of fires. You get your ass whooped. Now you can just try it again. Like, that's not really how the world works in the world of gaming. So there's always a consequence. So be mindful of that.
Exactly. Which does bring us to the city under Shui Sea, which this one I'm really cool because I'm big into like Atlantis. I'm one of the weird people that like Aquaman from the DC universe. So this one I'm kind of really stoked to be able to see. And I'm also a big proponent of, there's two types of moves that I like to use, and that's electric and water. Blastoise was probably one of my favorite Pokemon, growing up. So the water type moves are just really, really cool, and we can't wait to show you some of those NFTs along with the earth ground type NFTs that we have as well. Those haven't been shown yet. Those won't be shown for a little bit. But that's something that I'm kind of excited to, just to kind of see this very Atlantis-esque kind of city, this Poseidon style, like Greek mythology almost. Like I'm pretty excited to kind of explore this city a little bit.
Yeah, certainly. I am too, and I think that you can see from this still as well that MetaDoge character in this one, as well as the fish in the background, really give you a sense that you are in a place that is hard to survive if you're not acclimated to that. So another aspect of having to make sure that you have the right characters that you're working with here, that's a whole nother dynamic that you've got to keep in mind when you're getting into these meta worlds. But also, I mean, I'm a sucker for scenery, so we're gonna make this to where you're just blown away by the fact that all of these other things are going on around you that make you feel like you're organically in a sea setting.
That's one of the things that we want to make sure, like, this isn't going to be some kind of SpongeBob ripoff. Like, this is going to be, an age city that's been living since what feels like the beginning of time underneath the waters. The coral stuck to the sides and everything. There's a lot of really cool aspects they're doing with this. Also, one of the passive NFTs that you can get from certain quests that you do within this area would be swimming. So you're able to actually, like, swim and venture into the city itself. So, again, each zone has its own purpose, own NFTs that you can earn, and it's just its own place within the meta earth. And then we go to Inu Island, a tropical paradise, but is also the most industrious city. We have a lot of cool ideas for this one. We already have probably we're not going to announce it yet, not right now, but we already probably have one of our partnerships. It's going to be a side quest on this that we're excited to talk about, especially with us. I would give too much away. I'm not going to say that. But either way, this is, with it being so industrious, is the electric element type city that exists. I'm excited to do this just because there's so many possibilities inside, obviously, the city, so many places you can go, things you can do, and electric moves are my jam. Like, I just love that. Like, Raichu is my favorite Pokemon. Yeah. So I can't wait, which is one of the reasons why when we were getting the NFT designs, and we've been working on this for a while, or our team has been working on this for a while, not me personally, I'm not a graphic designer. But we're, spitting out the ideas. One of the legendary moves that I wanted, and there's multiple legendary moves, by the way, by themselves, we'll get to that too, was the electric one. I was like, I want to see that storm. I want to see the lightning bolts. Give me an electric legendary NFT, and I'm stoked that that's one of the points that we get to show. But yeah, like, what are your thoughts on it?
I think that I'm excited about Inu Island. I'm excited about the whole electric moves too, because I'm a sucker for electric as well. Electric is definitely my favorite by far. I think a second close second would be fire. I love the fire aspect. Wow. Now, but going back just a little bit, I know I kind of get where we're going here, but
you're taking us. I'm just on the ride.
But I will say that, to go back to your side quest comment, right? We're also not just making side quests to be generic side quests. Every metaverse, or meta zone that you're in has a theme, right? Like, Shui City is underwater. Floki Forest is in the forest. So these side quests are also going to they're going to be tailored to what the issues are in those meta zones. They're not just going to be like, hey, take me to this and then you'll get this. Like, that's stupid, right? Like, we want to make sure, like, we go to Shui City, their problems exist because of water or a lack thereof, or some sort of issue that is really relegated to their zone itself and their lifestyle, their way of living. So I just wanted to add that in there, because I think that side quests sometimes are like, man, I can, like, skip
go get
that
these 6 carrots for a bunny, but no,
yeah, and I'm not buying into that kind of thing. So we want to make it more realistic to the user.
Exactly. We're big fans of Skyrim, Fallout, like, big fans of those, The Witcher, that have unbelievable side quests that could have their own storylines if they wanted to. those are the ideas that we go with, where these side quests are their own mini stories that are built within the grander scheme of things.
Yeah, and those mini stories could, and this is obviously way further along, but those side quest mini stories could develop into expansions, and that's the
Exactly.
whole goal, right? Is for you to finish some side quest and be like, holy crap, I didn't get everything I wanted to know. Well, that's because we're probably planning on an expansion where you're going to find out more. And that's definitely something that we're looking at. And we're going to try to make sure that you're looking forward to it.
Exactly. Which brings us. Oh, before we get to the last zone,
Before we get to the
look
last
at me
zone,
who made this
I'm glad we
slide
did.
deck myself. Crafting, which we went in depth on the crafting earlier when we talked about Dogeland. So
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
so you guys know you can a lot of things you can get from the quest, not just MetaDoge, not just possible NFTs, crafting materials is a lot of things too. So you can make these potions, elixirs, powerful items that you need in order to survive, or that other people need that you can sell on the in-game marketplace. Those are all things that are incredibly important to the game and the ecosystem and how it works. So we're gonna need you crafters to help power this ecosystem for people like me who just want to fight stuff and buy stuff from you. Okay, that's what I'm gonna sign in. I'm gonna fight stuff. I'm gonna get hurt. I'm gonna buy potions from you.
I'm going to be the crafter. He's going to be the battler. He's going to be buying all kinds of stuff. For me, I'm going to obviously prioritize a little bit of crafting because I know this guy over here is going to need some potions. And
Yes.
need some different things.
I'm absolutely going to because I'm also not very good at it. MetaDoge, it's good to see you, my man. Thanks for joining the AMA as always. Which does lead us to the marketplace itself, which we talked about. This will be a self-sustaining in-game marketplace where not only can you put your NFTs that maybe you aren't using, maybe that you want to go ahead and sell, the crafting materials, all of those things, it's going to be completely price-based because each city has its own in-store or in-city store, I guess, is the better way to put that. Each city will have its own store that's computer ran that has set prices. Well, maybe you've crafted 8 potions. It's for sale for 50 MetaDoge at the store. You want to sell it for 40. Now I'm looking. I want to go ahead and just buy it from you and save, 10 MetaDoge. That's kind of the idea behind it. And then supply and demand kind of go through that. Maybe randomly the marketplace swaps items and doesn't have any potions. So now the price of those potions that you've been crafting skyrockets because everybody needs it. Maybe there's an influx of potions there, or the price that's on sale in the in-game city, and it crashes your side of it, so you got to focus on elixirs. There's things built into the game to keep you guessing and to keep the economy kind of up in the air. If that makes sense.
It is truly a free market. He knows that gets my, loins tingling.
We haven't gotten to the breeding part yet.
Right?
Hold on.
Let me calm down for a second. But yeah, I mean, it's a truly, completely fluid economy that you really get to govern yourselves by your prices, and it's supply and demand, right? So, I'm very excited about that aspect, and I also want to, I guess, underline the fact that what we're looking at here for this marketplace is to be in MetaDoge tokens. So
100%.
when you sell those, you're automatically getting something that you can use right then and there, or you can put it back in your wallet and save it for, the MetaDoge marketplace, like to buy other NFTs that are season 1 NFTs, or if you wanted to trade that on what you would do right now through KuCoin or PancakeSwap or whatever like that. So I just love that aspect about it. We're not using a fake fiat system. We're not using a fake currency. We're using our own currency. So if that doesn't make MetaDoge even more valuable, I don't know what.
Exactly. So now we get to the Darklands, and one of the things that Dom talked about earlier, where he's like, I kind of get, some Pokemon vibes, but I also get some Lord of the Rings vibes. You know what? You're goddamn right. Because I am a huge Lord of the Rings. You are too. Huge Lord of the Rings fan. And yes, if the Meta Earth aspect of it didn't kind of touch on it a little bit, didn't hint to it, huge fan, and there are some inspirations to that, because I think it's an amazing story. But yes, the Darklands, where the disease, the corruption has originated from, and brought us that little spicy boy. That's
I love that guy.
yeah.
I hate and love that guy because obviously I'm more on the good side.
I want to pet him.
This MetaDoge character has obviously MetaDevil has corrupted. Obviously the Darklands is maybe where he resides originally. I don't know. The storyline you will find out. But this guy obviously has a lot of evil in him. You can see from his bulging red eyes that he has.
Yeah.
Which Dom was, brilliant in wanting to make sure that existed, and I love that.
Exactly. So this is one of those corrupted MetaDoge. There will be a lot of corrupted different enemies over the time, but this is kind of the idea of who you're going to be running into across all the different meta zones across the metaverse. This is going to be kind of the enemies that you're fighting along the way, and there will be some that are maybe good and just want to spar with you. There may be, some other players along the way. We'll get to the multiplayer aspects at some point later on. That you'll want to fight against, but there's a lot of things, a lot of content that we're going to be releasing the first time. But the main thing to keep in mind is that not only are we going to release a ton of content in a full-fledged game, we are opening it, like you touched on earlier, to get possibilities for expansions after this is through the roof. We're talking expansion NFTs, booster packs, different element types, different move sets, different everything, different meta zones. Like, if we're just starting with 6 that are huge, boy, hold on to your pants. Like, we're gonna be, pushing this thing to the limits in the future, and that's one of the things that I'm most excited about is just the endless possibilities. If we have this amazing framework and ground level. What's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, groundwork.
Groundwork.
Yeah,
I said framework, and then I said so that's why groundwork didn't sound
right?
good.
Yeah.
Foundation.
Framework
Framework and foundation.
Yeah, there you go.
Built for the expansion and the opportunities to come, into the future, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see where this goes. Honestly, like, this foundational thing is it's brilliant enough. I feel like I'm super excited about this, and I don't want to like downplay it at all. I am very excited, but I'm also excited to see what we can do to expand this later on for the users, for us, for gamers, because we don't want it to become just this isolated game where there's no there's no development any further. Like, we're looking to develop this and continue to do that so that you get enjoyment out of it for a long time.
MetaDoge asks, is there a YouTube video where the game is explained? You're on it, buddy.
Yeah. This is it.
We're here. Welcome. Ask any questions that you have along the way, my man. Because that is MetaDoge, Spirits of the Metaverse. But one of the things that we wanted to show you and we wanted to touch on. Woo! Look at those.
Good stuff.
Look at those sexy son of a bitches. So what we have here on the left is a legendary move. As you can see from the diamonds, the L up in the top left, it is obviously electric type move. You can just see the clouds right. Man, I love that NFT. I can't wait to have it. I cannot wait to have it.
That looks sick. I love that the clouds change color. Like,
exactly.
The clouds actually come into focus there while he's doing the lightning strike. That's beautiful. I love it. I can't stop looking at it.
I know, MetaDoge does have a good point. He says that way you don't have to explain how the game works every time. We're in public relations, we're used to it, but I do appreciate it because you're right.
And we're excited about it, so we actually like talking about this.
Yeah, it's fun talking, and sometimes different questions come up and everything. But yeah, so this is obviously Lightning Storm. This is one of the ultimate moves that exist for the lightning element. The diamonds, it's male, as you can see from the bottom right. That is for the breeding purposes. This is just incredible. And then on the right side, and the reason why we have just a rare, not an epic or an uncommon, the reason we have it set as a rare for this Fire Blast move is to show you the kind of in-between, how it's not as intricate, but still awesome. It does plus 25% damage instead of the plus 100% for a legendary move or a plus 50% for an epic move. So the animations are still incredible for it. Just the framing and everything. Like, it's a rare. It's awesome. It's incredible. But imagine what an epic looks like, Imagine what a legendary fire move looks like, a lot like Lightning Storm, That's kind of why we wanted to make sure we gave you that middle ground kind of visual for that. That's the reasoning behind that.
One of the other thing that I noticed too is at the bottom right side of it, you have a symbol for their gender, and that is something that's going to be very very important for the users when you're looking at the breeding aspect. So obviously you have to have a male and a female gendered NFT to be able to breed those, and then you couldn't just do two of the same. So you're gonna have to definitely look at that. That's another part of the strategy, another part of the accumulation of assets of NFTs, and I think that that's a very very vital part of our game that we have to make sure works perfectly. And because the breeding thing is, if I want to make Dom happy, I gotta have the breeding thing perfect. So that's I just wanted to point that out because there are two symbols that will be represented depending on what NFT.
Exactly. That's one of the things that we wanted to make sure is that we were building one complete game. The breeding aspect and the fighting aspect, the battling aspect, work in tandem together, but you can do both completely separate and never touch the other. If that's not what you're into at all, you can completely just do that and play the game. We wanted to make sure that we appeased both player bases because Dom was huge on the breeding and caring for aspect. I was huge on the battling aspect. So we just came together and said, hey, what if we just have both? And what if we make it to where they work together, but they're separate? Like it's that way you're appeasing both player bases, and that's what we wanted to make sure. We do have a couple chats coming in. In-game economy, yes. So a lot of things that you can do. We touched on it a lot, but you can craft your own items, get scavenge ingredients. Just go out and do that. You don't have to even battle. You can just go out and scavenge ingredients, but you can fight people for ingredients as well. And then you can craft through your crafting station at your farm. You can craft your own potions, elixirs, everything. I mean, pretty much anything that you can buy at the store, you can craft. And then there is an in-game marketplace that you can sell those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you also have the ability to sell your NFTs that you maybe are no longer using, that don't want to use, and other people may need a rare fire blast for breeding purposes or something. Whatever it may be, you're able to sell those NFTs as well. So there's an entire ecosystem that's built within that fluctuates based on supply and demand. Let's just say.
Yeah, certainly supply and demand, and that in-game economy. You have to understand that is. There will always be a store, a general store, whatever, throughout the game that has predetermined prices for those items that you're trying to buy from the store. But sometimes you're going to be able to find them for cheaper on the in-game economy marketplace. So that marketplace is separate from a general store that you're going to find that has an NPC character that is manning that store or MetaDoging that store. So those two things are kind of separate, and I want you to realize that no matter if somebody has any potions in the marketplace for sale, you're always going to have access to those at some point in the game.
Exactly. So if somebody's not selling potions at that time, don't worry. You can go to the in-game store, which is located in each city. Will have their own general store, and you'll be able to buy those potions.
Not only that, but you can make your own potions if nobody else is selling them, and sell them for maybe just a little bit under what somebody would find in the general store, and you make money.
Exactly. Maybe you go to the general store and say, okay, he's selling these potions at 50. I look on the in-game marketplace. I'm seeing none of them on there. I'm just going to go out in the forest, find a bunch of these ingredients, craft 100 potions or whatever it is, throw them on the marketplace, and you just made yourself some passive income. Because then once you make that MetaDoge, the in-game token and our real life token, you can transfer it out to your wallet, cash it out. You just made money.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's economy.
That's the whole game right there.
Capitalism.
Right.
All right. So, how does the breeding work? Can you elaborate? Yes. So the breeding works in the sense of male and female has to be the same type and same move. So, for example, the Fire Blast, there is another rare Fire Blast out there with the female symbol that you can get. Breed them at your breeding station. Either there's an NPC that does it in town, or you can have one at your home to save on costs. You can breed them, and then there's a certain percentage of rarity that you can get to create a more rare fire blast, pretty much. One of the things that also is incorporated with that is, say you have a male Fire Blast, and you're not using it, because you can only equip 4 of these NFTs with you at a time, 4 attacks and 4 passives that you can equip with you as you go out and do battle. Say you're not using this one anymore. You say you have a epic one equipped and you don't need this rare one. But you don't want to sell it. It still has some points left where you can breed it. You go into town, go to the breeding station, and you can kind of stud out your rare NFT Fire Blast onto the marketplace and say, hey, if you pay me 1,000 MetaDoge, you can borrow my NFT to breed with to create your own. That's kind of another step into the in-game economy. We will talk about that more in depth, but there is always going to be utility for your NFTs, even when you're not even using them. Oh, Omar said, I think I'm going to soon accept MetaDoge's payment for my business soon. Ancient Arts UAE. Wow. That is awesome, man. Make sure that you send us a DM so we can be caught up on that. We can give you some marketing along with that, all right, my man? Because yeah, we are shooting for a fourth quarter release of 2022. We will have a beta out well before that, but we want to make sure that it's all tightened up because we are the first token to do this. We are the first token to launch a AAA multi-platform game with a sustainable in-game economy. So there's a lot of moving pieces for this, and we don't want to skimp on any features. We're telling you these features because we expect them to be in the game.
Right.
Or none.
I mean, there may be other games out there that have some of the things that we have. They may have all of the things we have, but it's probably far undeveloped, and it doesn't have nearly the amount of resources put into it because they're trying to get things out quick. That's honestly the frustration with play to earn games right now is that they're just being quickly pushed out, underdeveloped, not realized their full potential, and then people get tired of it within a couple days of playing it. We don't want that. We want this game to be, like I've said multiple times on this channel, game of the year type game. So that's what we're looking for. So the patience that you have to have for this kind of thing is far more than what you would have to have with other tokens who have already released games. But I can tell you that it's going to be far better and far worth the wait.
Exactly. CT has a really good question. Do we need NFTs to play the game? Yes and no. Yes, you need them to play the game, but do you need to buy NFTs to play the game? No, you do not. You are going to have the ability to earn in-game NFTs. You will have that ability to earn those. Now, granted, these are going to be in-game NFTs that everybody can earn, so they won't be, rare. They'll be very common as long as you are progressing through the story like everyone else. You're going to get that NFT too. You will be able to play this game without buying a single NFT if you want to. You absolutely can. We are going to offer single loot boxes where you can just buy, and there's a percentage chance on each rarity level, and you can buy an NFT moves that way. And then we will have the ability for booster packs where you get 3 NFTs, one of which is a guaranteed rare or higher. Obviously, those will be a little bit more expensive, but that's to really, if you want to up your arsenal, really hit the ground running when this game releases, you'll be able to buy those booster packs and be able to go from there. Which I think is really cool how you'll be able to kind of electronically, but kind of tear it open and see which 3 cards you get, one of which you know is at least a rare. Like, that's awesome. But there's almost 500 unique NFTs in this game. 500. Okay? So there is a ton of not only customization that you can do as far as building your character and your moveset, but just for collection purposes. Like, I want to meet the first person that collects all 500.
Oh my.
Like,
we should give them the game.
Just give them a game. Just rename it.
Just hand over MetaDoge.
Just MetaDogen. Dogen of the Metaverse. That's it. That's the tweet. So that's what we're looking at, though. That's a fantastic question. We're kind of to the end now. We've been here for a while. We kind of just want to know if anyone else has any questions whatsoever.
Well, one of the things I think that I want to point out too is like going back to CT's question, do you need an NFT to play the game? And like Owen said, no, not technically you don't. Would I recommend you getting some season 2s right now? Abso-freaking-lutely. Because you have 2 different forms of utility for that. Now, they're really, really cheap. All right? And you can stake them. And you can earn the MetaDoge that you will eventually try to use in the game. So, why not? Right? If you're going to buy them or you're going to try to play this game once it comes out, you might as well go ahead and earn some MetaDoge to use in the game later. And then you can convert those when you're done staking them. You're ready to play the game. You convert those to actual in-game NFTs plus the one you get when you're starting the game. Then you're already a little bit above, like ahead of the curve. So I just don't see a negative side to it right now because you're getting paid to wait for the game, and that's I mean we're let's not mix words here. We're waiting for this game to be finished up. So and we've got the beta and other releases that we're gonna do in the interim. Why not make some money while you're doing it? You know, that's what
Facts.
I'm doing.
Facts, and that's one of the reasons why we're going to harp on this again before we close out. Is, ladies and gentlemen, 1% buy tax right now. 1% buy tax. All right, and not only that, big buy competition to where, you know, I know we talked about this earlier, where the winner of the big buy competition gets a legendary season 1 NFT, some of the best staking rewards around. That is something that you need to be focused on right now. Okay, I do want to harp on the fact that we have different competitions planned over the next few weeks and months and whatnot. Eventually, we have a competition planned for one of these NFTs. We've got a lot of things in the pipeline that we're going to be sharing with you because we don't want just the momentum to die off all of a sudden. But I wanted everybody to kind of keep that in mind. The game is RPG type with a battle arena. There will be an arena aspect to that. We just kind of have to check a couple things as far as the multiplayer servers to be able to know how exactly we can incorporate it. That's still in the early stages, but we're wanting to have an arena in the Darklands. I'll just go ahead and say it, to where players are able to challenge each other and battle each other for MetaDoge. That is what we are planning on. Obviously, everything's subject to change. These are features of a game, but that is what we are planning on to do to add that multiplayer aspect and then expand on that from there in seasons going forward. But generally speaking, that is the plan, CT.
Yeah, truthfully, I would love the idea. I mean, the ability to get into an arena with somebody else and challenge my MetaDoge build against their MetaDoge build with their 4 characters against my 4 characters and wager something against them. So, yeah, I love that aspect. And I think that's definitely something we're looking at in implementing. But we definitely have to focus on getting the base game in and the right game in, so that we can attract as many people as possible. And then we're going to throw in those really, really cool battle arena things, the multiplayer stuff, that in the expansions. That's what we're looking at because we want it to be long term. We don't want it to be a short, you play this for a week and then you're done. Like, that's pointless.
We've got some big buys coming in too, guys. So y'all better pick it up. Because we got some big buys coming in. They're about to leave you in the dust. So buy now while the price is the way it is. Buy now while the buy tax is the way it is. And you have a chance to win a Season 1 NFT, which are, as you know, completely sold out and highly sought after. But these beautiful, sexy some bitches are something that you get to look forward to, that I'm looking forward to. And we'll have more NFTs to share with you over the next coming weeks as those are finalized as far as the graphics department and whatnot. That's happening. So it doesn't look like there's any other questions. We'll be here next week, as always, from the Public Relations Department. I am Owen.
I am Tyler.
Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next week. Good night.